Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on August 15th, 2021 at approximately 10:50 p.m. PST. Just about messed that one up. Of course, it's a lot later in the night than I was planning on. So, welcome to the first day of the rest of your life. You've got a decision just like every other entity in creation right this moment. Or in existence is a more acceptable way of putting it, I think. That said, that decision is very simple. Do you desire to maintain your life living in fear? Okay, living not content with the way your life is. Or are you more interested in altering the way the energy in your life is running to enable you to have a life that is more enjoyable, more prosperous, more successful in your eyes? Never mind what anybody else says. Okay. Now, if you desire the latter, okay, what we're going to discuss is very simple. The tools that I personally use myself to alter the energy in my life. Now, these are tools I've been sharing with people for, 48 years now. Okay. Now, the only thing I can guarantee, I'm not here to prove anything. Okay. But the one thing I will guarantee is I won't lie to you to make you feel better. Unless you ask me to do so directly. Now, with over 80,000 clients under my belt, I've only actually lied to somebody deliberately once. This does not mean I'm perfect. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Being as I bill myself as a spiritual guide, and I encourage you to pay attention to this part of it, because whoever you decide to listen to in the way of spiritual guidance, be it a priest, a pastor, the head of a coven, the leader of a support group such as, Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, the people that help others deal with PTSD, whoever you're listening to, okay, groups, it doesn't matter. Make sure that whatever tools they're offering you, they are following. Because I'll tell you, if they're not following them, you might have a bit of an issue. You might have a bit of a complication. Now, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Do subscribe to our channel. Okay, and remember to hit that little alarm button, that little alert bell, just to the right of the subscribe button, to let you know when the newest videos come up. Now, as you can see, I do have a tendency of coming out of doing these videos when I get to them. I do not tend to follow a schedule, not from that standpoint. But if you're content living in fear, then by all means carry on. Myself, I've pretty much had enough fear, enough of being lost in the wake of whatever's going on, and certainly of trying to justify what I'm doing to other people. Now, with this in mind, understand the 3 karmic laws. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. And energy out, energy in. Now, absolutely, compare whatever guidelines you're following. Compare them to those 3. Please, if you find one that does not fit in those 3, drop me a line in the comments, or contact me at one of the contact points below this video, and let me know, because I haven't found one yet, and therefore, in my experience, if I cannot find a variation or a discrepancy, then we are dealing with what amounts to scientific proof. Okay, now I'm not a researcher, I just understand the way research goes. Now, number 1, you gotta have an idea of what you are not content with in your life. Contrary to popular belief, in my opinion, what I've found is you don't have to know what you're going to be happy with. You have to know what you're not content with. Now, with that in mind, okay, that's what I keep this handy sheet of paper for. Is if you're not this is simply used for a list. Now, I've talked about a list more often than I care to count. I could figure it out, but I'd have to do a lot of research at this point. Okay, now where it comes to making this world a better place, if you concentrate on fear, who has what more than you? Who is doing what? Who's to blame for your life being in the shape it's in? If you keep pointing the finger at other people, or other situations, or other entities, okay, I know some people that will literally blame whoever they are worshiping. It's their fault. You know, things like that neat little comment of, God doesn't, God's out to give me, or it's all Satan's fault. Now, I've got a Christian background, hence the terminology. Let us be very clear on two major factors. One, I'm a firm believer in what many of you would call God. We'll call it a higher entity. Okay, what you call God, in my opinion, yes, exists, absolutely, but he's not the top of the totem pole. Therefore, I look at it this way. Any rules that are made, that are out there, they apply to everybody. Okay, and these are simply the tools I personally use. Now, let's get started at the baseline. Okay, we're dealing with where your life is. Every single person in existence, every entity in existence, right now, right here, right now, is starting from exactly the same place. Right here, right now. And the only person, the only entity in existence that can be successful for every individual, the only person that can be successful for you, regardless of how many tools you're offered, the only person that can be successful for you is you. Now, you can take the best tools on the planet, and they're totally useless if you don't pick them up. Okay, so take a look where your life is. Are you content? That's first and foremost. If not, okay, let's state the obvious. A lot of people I've talked to have said, change is difficult, change is painful, change is scary. Well, let me ask you this. Okay, every time I say something, every time you hear anything, okay, something is changing. Okay, every time your heart beats, your whole world changes. Every single time. Now, are you in pain? Is this a frightening thought? Okay, this is how simple change is. It's not frightening, it's not painful, it's not scary, but it is the one consistency in existence. Okay, so we start at that point, then you realize, okay, you cannot destroy energy. Energy simply modifies. Let's give you a basic physical example of that. In basic chemistry, I think it's chemistry, when you take a look at the configuration of the atom, okay, the hydrogen atom has one electron. Okay, now that one electron circles that atom. But with all atoms, the electrons constantly are leaving one atom and connecting with another. Well, the second one electron leaves from hydrogen, it becomes something that modern science hasn't come up with. So we'll just call it a null element. The thing that fills all the energy, all the distance between atoms. But we take that one random element, or that one random electron. It connects with another hydrogen atom. And now that hydrogen atom, instead of having one electron, has two. It has now become helium. This is an ongoing thing. Okay. Now, we can absolutely go into a different thing. Because understand, on top of being a spiritual guide, I also deal in alien technology and off-world races, as well as ancient races. There is you can look this up under the subset of videos I do called Races of the Worlds. Okay, you can look up something called an OTE drive. Okay, which literally means the oscillodensification of the tri-transtemporal equipolarity. Yes, that sounds absolutely twisted. And frankly, it took me to explain it to somebody with their master's in astronomy and rocketry, because I don't have an education of that kind at all, it took me almost 2 hours to make it understandable, or an hour and a half. But the reality of it is, can I explain it? The answer is yes. Okay. And one of these days, I'm going to have to go back through and make certain I did that. But the change happens. Okay, now I've got my office working nicely. It's a bit of a mess right now, but that's because it's during the day. The first thing I will be doing when I get done this video is clearing my office desk back off. Okay, so that when I get up in the morning, I'm actually starting on a clean office. And this is, understand, when you're looking at altering the way your life is working, the biggest question, where do I start? Well, where you start is right where you are. Okay, whatever you're looking at, take a look around you. Take a look at the way your work area is, where you're sitting right this moment. Pick 3 things that you're not content with. Okay, doesn't matter what they are. Okay, in my case, now of course, I still have this issue. I'm working on repairing my glass in my eyes. My glasses, not so much. Okay, so all I'm doing here is marking down I'm marking down the different things that I've got to get done right now. Like as soon as I get done the video. Okay, these 3 things. First thing I'm doing is posting it. Then I will get this office desk cleared off. Now, you start off with those 3, but make sure that the 3 goals you make, okay, make sure that they are 15-minute to half-hour long goals. The reason for that is so you can get them done, check them off, and help yourself understand that you are accomplishing things. Now, I've got 3 already listed here. Okay, I may add more before the end of the video, but the 3 I've got right now breaks right after I'm done here down into a real simple task. Get done, post first, then make sure this side of my desk is cleared. Once I'm done that, make sure this side of my desk is cleared. Now, of course, here's the thing. I post, I'll check that off, add another goal to the bottom, leaving me 3 again. Then I'll clear off this side, check it off, add another list, and add another task to the list. Now, understand, by doing this, okay, when I get finished and I pack it in for the night, I will have 3 goals first thing in the morning. This precipitates the idea of changing the way the energy in your life is running. Okay, now remember, whether you use the tools or not isn't going to have a whole lot of bearing on me. But one thing that will have a big bearing on me, and that I do ask your assistance with, is I returned to give a message to this world. Okay, and that message is simple. Working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. But it all starts with you. You are just as important as every other entity in existence. Okay. If you have a dream that you would like to attain, and you're sitting there looking in the mirror going, gee, I don't know if I can do it. I had this dream when I was younger, and I don't know if I can attain it. Well, I will tell you this. If you don't make the effort, you will not attain it. Okay, in my case, I had a dream when I was in grade 10, and that was to get a storyline in print. Well, here's the neat thing. That was back in grade 10. That storyline, okay, is right here. In print, okay, accessible in a number of fashions. The point of that is not that book. The point of that, okay, that's, as you can see, that's Yldrbac, The Birth of the Wolf Pack. Now, I don't know if you can read that or not, but that was a dream I had back in grade 10, okay, which would have put me approximately 15 years old. Here I am, 58. Now, that's 43 years I waited to actually get that done. I'm encouraging you not to wait that long. Okay, regardless of what the goal is that you've got, regardless of what that task was or what that dream is, if you desire to be an author, a singer, a songwriter, a movie star, it doesn't matter. As long as you're not dead, you likely still have room. Now, there are limits. If you desire to be a millionaire by the time you're 20 and you're now 21, you're not going to do it by the time you're 20. Okay, but do not buy into the concept that things cannot be done. Okay, I was told as you get older, your eyesight gets worse. Okay, I was told a lot of things that happen as you get older. One of the big things I was actually told to start with was, if you're going to get your life in order, for you to be successful, you have to have a plan in order by the time you're 20. Well, I will tell you this. Many of you are from the what's it called? From the dashboard on YouTube here. Many of you are way over the 20-year mark. Okay. And you may not have your life in order. My assumption is you probably don't. You're probably not where you desire to be yet. You don't have to be. From my experience working with consulting people on personal, business, UFO, alien abduction, all of it, since I was 10, dealing with the metaphysical side since I was born, I have discovered that the average person that I've run into is somewhere between their mid-40s and their early 50s. Okay, by the time they figure out what they desire to do with their life. This is why I keep something around to drink. In my case, coffee. Okay, they're usually somewhere in their mid-40s to early 50s before they figure out what they'd like to do with their life. Okay, so if you haven't figured it out yet, you're amongst a staggering number of people that are in the same boat. Okay, the big difference between you and the next person is you may be able to look at it at this point and go, okay, I haven't got there yet, but let's get back on the track that we desired and make it happen. If you're dealing with addictions and you haven't been able to break it, understand, okay, you're talking to somebody right now that used to doing, I'd kill a 26er a night without even blinking. I quit counting lines at 6. I got away from all of those. I did those a long time ago. I've gone away from them. Okay. And frankly, now I almost always refuse to take even medicine that the doctors are prescribing. And I've got nothing against the doctors personally. Well, actually, personally, I probably do. But do understand, if you don't have a way of dealing with things, okay, if you're ill, if you're having trouble with issues, do like I did. Okay, talk to the doctor, get whatever medication that they have, but do what I did. Okay, I looked at the doctor, and I do caution you here. This only works if your body will handle it. I told the doctor I will use whatever medication that I require that you suggest as a crutch, meaning until I no longer require it. Well, 6 months ago, I was around 246. My blood pressure was like 180 over something. I got on the medication. I started using it. I have run out of most of it. But the thing I didn't run out of was I took the time to talk to people to figure out how to change my diet, how to change my exercise level. Net result, I'm down 40 pounds. Okay, I'm approaching the 200 pound mark. My blood pressure is on the slightly downside of normal. Okay, my pulse is down where I'd like it to be. And overall, I'm feeling pretty physically in good shape. I've still got a bad leg, but hey, I can work with it. And my eyes still are not completely fixed. But then I used to be blind, or one step shy of it. I was -6 in this eye, and minus 5 3/4 in this eye, -6 in this one. But I ended up with that. by taking a trailer hitch to the eyeball. Okay. Now, I tore the cornea. The reality is, I now have almost 20/20 eyesight in spite of having a stroke and a temporary run at type 2 diabetes. I've now got almost 20/20 eyesight. Well, I've got 20/20 eyesight where it comes to reading. I still have a problem with distance, and of course that's why I keep putting these on. Because the clock I work with is at the bottom here. I think that's 20 minutes. Yep. Okay. But I've repaired my eyes, not through surgery, not through medication, not through an operation of any form. That said, those methods work for many people. Personally, I prefer the idea that my brain can actually correct what is happening with my body. I did discover if your body is dealing with it, your body can correct it, because in every cell in your body there is a perfect blueprint for a perfectly healthy body. Now, whether you believe that is possible or not is your issue. I'm not here to prove it. I'm here to tell you it's a philosophy I came with that has worked staggeringly well for me to actually heal. Okay, and I will tell you, all that I do, thou shalt do and more, is the way it was best put. Okay, I broke this arm to the point that it had to be plated. Now, this is on record in the hospitals. Okay, this isn't just me saying, look, people ask, where's my proof? Well, the proof in this case is in the hospital. If you've got access to records, it's easily accessible. But I broke it, and 9 days later, I'd healed the bone. Okay, now, the rest of it, I'm not about to try and prove. Okay, those of you that believe me, there is no proof required. Those that don't, it is possible that proof is not possible. Okay, we'll find out. But I will tell you right off the bat, from my standpoint, if you haven't followed this path before, okay, do give it a whirl. See what happens. Do your own research. Check your own outcomes. Don't just take my word for it. Lord knows I'm not perfect. Okay. The only thing I'm not perfect, but the funny part about it is, the only thing I've even gotten somewhat successful at doing properly is being me. Okay. Now, whoever you're following, follow who you will. But understand, if they're not following the same rules they're telling you to follow, they may not be the spiritual guide you're looking for. Okay. Now, I know a lot of society, like, there's a staggering amount of society that's walking around, they're following somebody simply because that person says they know what they're doing. And very few people question whether they actually know what they're doing. Okay. I saw one charity in particular, a registered charity, that was putting out food for the poor. Okay, they were running a food truck. They were claiming to be a non-profit society. Okay, and they had a food truck going out. And when they shut the food truck down, I happened to talk to the man that was actually operating it. He didn't run the thing. He operated it. The non-profit organization ran the company, ran the food truck, right? And when they went to shut it down, he told me he was done. I said, how come? I said, you moving on to something better? And he looked at me and he goes, no. And he was very unhappy about it. He says, no, the non-profit society I was working for, has shut down the food truck because the food truck is not making them money. Now, this was a non-profit organization that was not making money, and because of that, quit helping the poor. Needless to say, I won't deal with them at all. I won't go into their thrift stores. I won't go into anything to do with them. But that's because they were claiming one thing and decided to completely go against it. Now, there is another organization I know of Okay, that the government has done a real stupid thing. The government up here in Canada, from my understanding, you're not allowed to tax something twice. So what I don't understand is why secondhand stores, which are selling donated secondhand stuff, are charging taxes. Okay, but I will deal with that particular company because the tax laws aren't their fault. But what I do know is everything that they get in. Okay, last I heard, they weigh it all and they cut, and based on weight, they cut a support check, they cut a donation check to another nonprofit organization. Okay, that actually is targeting helping kids, and that is literally what they do. So this one nonprofit organization donates to a company that is targeting and helping kids. Okay, now them I will quite readily deal with without even thinking. Okay, because of the fact that from everything I understand, now if it changes at some point and I find out they're not doing that, you can bet your bottom dollar I'll quit working with them. Okay, now with that in mind, do I agree with the concept that the church is called tithing? Absolutely, I do. But I will not personally give to a nonprofit organization or to a charity, because so much of the charity stuff, of the money that you donate, from everything I've seen, it gets used up in administration costs. Now, the best of the companies, 70% of whatever is donated to them goes to administration. Okay, it doesn't go to the people they're claiming to help. So much as I agree with the idea of giving 10% of what you make to charity, I do that by buying somebody, whether they're a working person or whether they're homeless, doesn't matter. Buying food for them, helping pay bills, that sort of thing, when I've got it. Now, I'm not a millionaire by any means, but this has been the way I've been since I can remember. Well, not entirely. I had a lifetime where that really wasn't the case. Actually, it kind of was, but I'll get to that on a different day. In the meantime, I'm going to bring this to a close because I do keep these to half an hour. Okay, with that in mind, until I get back to you, which will be tomorrow sometime, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.